Welcome to Stories with Steve. Please pull up a chair, relax, and enjoy.
Inside an era best described as ambiguous, in a setting of timber coppice, dwelt a family unit of genus Ursidae, though specific epithet unknown. Known to us, however, is the familial unit was comprised of a patriarch, a matriarch, and a single progeny. The particular diurnal course this biography transpired remains ambiguous. Upon the onset of this passage of time, the matriarchal Ursa took the onus of providing comestible means to the breaking of the fast. This was accomplished by means of grain pottage. Upon completing the task of preparation, however, the sustenance in question was deemed too thermally rich for proper enjoyment and consumption. Thusly, the unanimous inclination of the potential partakers was to temporarily forego ingestion, taking in its stead a bout of perambulation. No sooner had the residents of the abode taken their leave than a young female of the Homo sapient persuasion made entrance to the scene. An immature of her species, noted and named mostly for her follicular endowment, and, more specifically, the similarity in color between it and the transition metal numbered 79. She made note of the uninhabited domicile, and then, being one of questionable character, made entrance forthwith. Her state being insurient in both character and body, the first stop to be made was the dining room, wherein she saw beset upon the table the vessels of porridge in decline from their calefaction. Acting upon impulse, she took up the vessel of most magnanimous portion and sampled it. Processing taste and temperature, she reacted with an outburst of, "Zounds! The rich thermal state of this comestible renders it most unbearable and inedible." Putting the first aside, she attempted the next, which was more mediocre in portion. Put off once more, she assessed it thusly. The thermally deficient state of this particular porringer, directly in opposition to the former, is causational to its state of vile repugnance. Lastly, she trepidatiously took up the third. Her anticipation for refreshment was now Lilliputian as the portion of the final bowl. To her consternation, the third vessel's holdings were impeccable, a very delight to imbibe. Her famishment staved, she encountered a bout of somnolence. Retiring to the antechamber, she espied the appropriate furnishing accoutrements. As with the pottage urns, they came in an assortment of 3, substantial, middling, and nigh paltry. Attempting the first, she noticed its adamantine buffer was distressing and not at all fit for repose. Taking to the second, it was most notably pliable, so much as to instigate asphyxiation. She partook the third. As with the porridge, the meager cathedra was a wonder to behold and essay. No sooner had she taken her leisure than mishap and woe reared its grotesque guise. The diminutive furnishing foundered and fragmented. More than a little perturbed, our protagonist made parade to the upper level of the domicile, expeditiously establishing placement of the bedchamber. Once again, as seen twice previously in our narrative, and at the risk of monotony, the bunks were presented in triad assemblage in order of stature, considerable, median, and slight. Having not yet perceived or discerned the method sequence used in this allegory, she progressed to evaluate the bulkiest initially. To no astonishment of anyone who has given regard to the narrative pattern, the first was the least conductive to dormancy due to its unyielding nature. The second, to no stupefaction of the attentive listener, was equally lacking in the slumber-inducing category because of its spongy construct. The concluding option was, shock and awe, quintessential, to the least astonishment-inducing reaction of all. Then, in remarkable contingent eventualities, her dormancy was made at the self-same juncture that the family Ursidae made their reappearance. Upon gaining entrance, the elder noted his porridge had been disturbed. The second concurred the identical state for her own fare. The infant lamented the inescapable fact that his had been depleted utterly and wholly. Entering the adjoining room, the patriarch exclaimed distaste to the disarray of his recliner. With similar disgust, the matriarch bemoaned the cluttered state of her own. Beginning to caterwaul, the progeny lamented the complete decimation of his lounger. Then, audibly distinguishing uvula rattling emanating from the upper level, the Ursine family advanced upward, then debouched from the companionway to the slumber sector. The enormous one bellowed out distaste toward his birth having been disordered. The matron gave outcry at the also desecrated state of her bunk. The youngest, however, cried out, "The divan tenancy also perches upset, and perchance the perpetrator yet remains there within!" At which proclamation, the female protagonist took to wakefulness, vaulted from the cot, and withdrew habitation with ferocity likened to a chiroptera relinquishing settlement from the abyss. And they all lived happily ever after. The end.
This has been Stories with Steve. I think that was Goldilocks and the Three Bears, although it might have been the Big Bad Wolf and the Three Little Pigs. It's kind of hard to tell. Either way, we hope you have enjoyed your story and that you will join us again next time on Stories with Steve.